Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do start, let's give a brief little review. In the last part, we had Deku. And Deku, he proved why he is a threat to Ultron. Ultron, he is a persistent, resilient, and ever-adapting machine. If he does ever take one step backwards, it's usually so he can take 4 or 5 steps forwards. And this is an issue. Deku is the exact same way. He fought toe-to-toe with Thor in his Mark 9 suit, and was able to not only survive an encounter with the God of Thunder, he was able to stand against him. And eventually the fight had to be broken up by Doctor Strange. And this meant quite a lot. Deku was sent to the other side of the planet, and then flew to Wakanda. And it was an issue. Izuku, he has a lot going through his head. However, after arriving at Wakanda, his headaches were taking a bigger toll on him. Along with the physical damage he sustained before putting on the Thorbuster, he went down. He collapsed in Wakanda after all of his adrenaline wore off. And that means quite a lot. However, Ultron, he's also got a lot going through his head. Because he was getting plans ready to try and invade Attilan. However, this is where Vision needs to step in. If he can take Attilan, it'll be a problem. If he can get the technologies there, it will be a problem. If he gains access to any heroes or anybody on his side that he can use, it will be an issue. He has the Mind Stone and the ability to control will. The ability to control and enslave people and bend them to his will. And this is a major factor. In Vision, he is trying to keep Ultron at bay for right now. However, the robot is getting quite annoyed that his other companion is giving him so much feedback. Now, Deku, he currently does get to wake up. And right now he does get a sit up, very annoyed and not feeling too well. Right now him finding himself in a Wakandan hospital and looking around. No nanotech, no body augmented suit. Okay, so he's not in a healing suit. That's not good. Though he's getting fluids. His ribs hurt. Right. His head is still pounding. Okay. So what's going on there? Currently Deku looking around. And he feels okay. Right. It certainly is weird. Deku going to turn, and hearing a voice. You don't really know the half of it. Hello? I'm looking around the room. Okay, that's a little weird. He could have swore someone was in here. Unless... No, his powers aren't active. He's not listening in on anything. There's no... You can't feel microphones nearby, so... Weird. Currently, someone walking to the room. And Deku, he has to see a doctor. One of them ready to tell Izuku a few things. And Deku, he's informed about it. After his injuries against the God of Thunder, he came in and went down. He was then brought to a medical ward and given care. However, they also received some feedback. They are unable to operate on his biology. He's an inhuman. And they did do several scans and found abnormalities in his brain. They want to go over them with him, explain a few things, and hopefully he can understand them. I'm sorry, abnormalities? Yes, it will require surgery. The fact of the matter is, though, because of your inhuman biology, we don't know anything about you. Wakanda doesn't have any inhumans. We've had a number of mutants, but no inhumans. Your biology is, let's just say, out of our toolkit. If you were human, we could operate, see what we can do, and you could be in recovery within a few weeks. However, you would be out of commission. doctor's orders, of course. However, I'd highly recommend that you do not use your abilities or powers. You could strain or even hurt yourself more. Any headaches, strange things, any abnormalities I should know about? Um, just the headaches, but what are you talking about? Now, Deku, he doesn't listen on. The doctor, holding up a pad, and currently, Deku, he doesn't see it. The information on screen, along with the x-rays of his skull, along with something that should not be there inside of his head. And that it does not worry him, because the doctor is talking about how there is something growing inside of his skull. And this, it really does worry Izuku. Because right now, he doesn't have time for this. Right now, Ultron is the problem. The longer he waits, the more time is passing. The more Ultron can plan out and do things. If he gets Ultron 4 off the ground, things can be bad. If he gets the Mind Stone properly used, I mean, Thor's somewhere out in space probably. Another realm, another dimension maybe. Until he's calmed down, they can't rely on him. They can't rely on a lot of people. And this does worry Izuku. As after the doctor does get to talk to him, he does sit there. A lot going through his mind as Mr. Fantastic does come by. Him trying to talk to Izuku and asking him a few questions. And right now, Reed and him, they do go back to the lab. Currently, Deku walking to the room as Shuri does a look up. Her seeing Iron Man as Deku, he does look around. Him seeing Maximus and even T'Challa. And currently, they all do get to stand there. Right now, Shuri turning her head and seeing him, turning back and looking at his Iron Man suit. It's primitive technology, but then again, it's made to fight against Ultron, so it does make sense. Then again, with the technology advanced enough, Ultron should not be able to hack it. I mean, there is a way around his whole thing, though, just assuming that he already does use the isolated network, but he's just trying to make sure Ultron cannot get into his tech. And that, it does mean quite a lot. Currently, him staying there and asking a few questions, since there's still been the device to track down the stones. And he does this to the screen. Currently, Shuri going to express about what they're at. So far, they've got a few things down. However, until they can really get everything set up, they are still flying a little blind. Their network should scan the Earth, but it's not fully operational and up. So far, the range they do have expands to a city block. But the device, it is hard to say. They haven't really tried testing it to see if they can track the stone and their unique signature and presence around the globe yet. Until they can fully try it and test it out, they're blind. And Deku, he doesn't express. Okay, well, that's something else. However, if they're trying to search for the stones, they should understand. It needs to be able to look for different energies, right? All of them are different things. The reality stone is harder to say because you're trying to measure reality. Though, it could be the instability that is produced by the stone that they need to search for. The time stone is simple, because time may either be slowed or warped around the stone like a black hole. So there's that. And the other ones, it's a bit more of an abnormality for. The power stone, for example. It is essentially an infinite reactor. And that's the abnormality they need to search for. Though the energy they all do could give off, the unique radiation, could also be something that you search for. Try and find its presence on Earth. And that is easier said than done. Now, Deku does a turn, and Maximus, he does a stand there. Him trying to think through this problem. And Shuri, she is still trying to recalibrate a few things to understand this information. She's trying to recalibrate Wakanda technology to search for these stones, and that is not a simple task. It's certainly a challenging one that does push her limit, but certainly one that's just unexciting. Unknown science, an unknown field, a new area to discover. And Deku, he currently needs to walk over and climb into his Iron Man suit. Right now, Deku bringing his hand up and doing a few things, as he's connected to the Attilan network. Now, Deku, he does a radio in to Joe Costa and Friday. Right now, him getting on a call with them and asking questions. Since he needs Friday to look into a few things for him. He's going to send over some data, and it's going to be complicated to explain. Though, he's got a few things to handle. What is it, Izuku? Keep this information secret. There's a problem in my head. The doctor found something in my frontal cortex. I need to get it removed. If I can't, it'll be a problem. It's messing with me and it caused me to black out. That is horrible. Is there something that I can do? I could operate. No. Doctor said it was only present whenever I use my powers. Their scans told me that much. But I'll handle it after Ultron. If I am out of commission for Thanos, I want you to take the reins of the Thor Buster. Attack and be ruthless. That is my protocol against Thanos. Deploy everything if needed. Everything. Understood. As for Ultron, if I was Ultron, and I'm not, let me think. A crazed Hank Pym who's intelligent and ever adapting. Sort of like you. Deku turning his head. And no, that voice. It's familiar. Izuku? Yeah. Sorry. I'm fine. Okay. Let's see. Now, Izuku, he does try to go into his thoughts. If he had the Mind Stone, what would he do if he was trying to conquer Earth? There's a few things. Though Thor is a perfect example. Take control of a god and send him after your biggest opponent, your biggest threat. So, I mean, golden star for him, I guess. But then again, he's an intelligent person. He's a thinker. Okay, so he's gonna make this work. Understand what to do and go from there. Let's see, it was T'Challa, Reed Richards, and him, along with Friday, who took him all down. Right. But Ultron has ego. Ultron has his flaws. Hank Pym has obsessions. Okay, so 3 years of isolation working as a robot. Wait a second. His obsessions and the way Hank Pym does act. He's a very caring family man. He'd do anything to get his wife and daughter back. He understands that better now. He can understand the obsession and the craziness. Wait a minute. Joe Costa was built off of Miss Costa. Yes, Izuku. What's the probability of Ultron seeking revenge? Probability is at 72%. And factors like Iron Man? 92%. Against Reed Richards? 90%. T'Challa? T'Challa is an unknown variable. Vibranium is calibrated into this equation. And vibranium is also a rare resource only found in Wakanda. Further analysis would be needed, and more probability would be needed, and time to decipher, and root on the slot. So he'd come after T'Challa. Current information unknown. However, it is possible that he would seek a vendetta against you. Yes, but how would he... Crystal. Currently, Deku gonna radio into Friday. Him expressing to her that he wants information and wants them to keep Attilan on guard. High alert. Higher than it is already. He's asserting that the sentries are protecting that city. And Friday, we're gonna radio back in, informing Izuku that they are. And Deku, he is worried about that. He knows that the network is secure and isolated. The only person who has access to it should be him. The only person who can get inside of its circuits should be him. It's the same way with the Thor Buster. The only way inside is with his superpower. And that should be good. But it does make him concerned. If Ultron knows about those things and he can get into their system, it's going to be bad. He specifically designed them to handle threats outside of his tool belts. There's nobody piloting them. But they're basically Hulkbusters, just a lot stronger and a whole hell of a lot bigger. And that, it does go through his mind. As, right now, T'Challa, he does get a security alert. Him looking at a few things on the inside of his mask and going to turn, walking over and retracting his claw. T'Challa beginning to input information. And currently the screen, it does a change. As everyone, they do to turn and see the current view. As Vision, he does float there. Right now him hovering above the ground. And on the ground it does say one thing. Vision, he wrote in the dirt, Iron Man, SOS. And this, it does catch their attention. And T'Challa, he has a turn, asking if this happens to be a friend of his. Sort of. He gave me a heads up on Thor. He did. Yeah. Though I do have my own concerns. He was built by Ultron. But the fact of the matter is, he helped me. I don't know. He helped you. That doesn't mean I know what it means. Just because he gave me one doesn't mean I can trust him. Could be a trick to gain my trust. I've got a lot to think about after Ultron. He's messed with me before and gotten into my head, and I'm not going to let him do that again. Especially now. He has the Mind Stone, and I know what that does mean. If that thing has it, then we're in trouble. Alright? Can the barrier protect against us? What do you mean? Can it protect us from anything? As far as I'm aware, yes. However, we should be protected if we do wear our armor. I'll go. If I'm affected, take out my armor. Just the guy underneath, right? I will do that. However, where is your other suit? Attilan. If Ultron gets a hold of that, it'll be worse. It's pretty advanced, but not what you got. You'd still win. Ro T'Challa goes on smile, as he'll go to inform Izuku. He can go ahead and move out. However, he will stay here. And that, it does mean quite a bit. As right now T'Challa, he does get a few things prepared. Right now him going to tell the Wakandan army to be on standby. And this, it does mean quite a lot. Izuku going to head out and meet with Vision at the edge of the barrier. And this is where he does it laying down. Him walking forwards and talking about it. Right now him turning his head and seeing the Thorbuster behind him. Though, T'Challa. Yes? Get here now. If I'm compromised, the Thorbuster could be used. It's still in Wakanda. Right. on the way. T'Challa getting on the move. And Deku, he currently just stand there. Him turning and looking at Vision. As Vision does a step forwards. It's good that you're don't move. Hmm? Yes. I do understand. You are taking precautions. I do not blame you. Why did you warn me? Because you were in danger. I've seen many things, observed you. I was created to destroy you, but I do not know. I warned you because I saw humanity in you. You and your allies. You had fun. You all have a common goal and common interest. The preservation of life. It is a beautiful phenomenon, one I do wish to understand and experience more of. However, Vision's mind is clouded, or Ultron's mind is clouded. He perceives the world as evil, not beautiful. He sees it in his own way, however. He's based off of a psychopath. I understand that. However, I am not. I was created and given sentience by him. He wishes to let me understand him, observe him. But everything I do see is not the way he sees it. He wanted to attack Attilan. I've fed him false information. And he's changed plans. He is trying to build an army. An army of mindless heroes. I see. He's after my family. I believe so, yes. However, instead of him quickly trying to move in, I told him security measures would be too great for him. He did not like that. And he's switching to Plan B. Plan B? Yes. He's building a device right now. Ultron 4 has been completed. Deku's staring on, not liking what he just heard. And Vision does continue. Currently, at the moment, Ultron 4 is building more robots. Along with that, they are currently implementing multiple systems to try and invade Genosha. And this, it does alarm Deku. As, right now, he does have to look at Vision, informing him. He wants to get into his subroutines, get into his network, and do quite a few things. He does not give him a single bit of trust. He wants to look through his data quickly. If he can do so, then that will provide him with a lot. Though, he's also going to put a kill switch inside of his skull. I am skeptical of allowing this. I understand that. Though, you do understand who I am. I do, yes. You take the precautions necessary to ensure your safety. Good. Then you'll know. I won't trust you unless you allow me to do this. I already like to do the impossible. But Vision. Is that your name? Correct, yes. Do you know who Friday is? Yes, this is also something I did want to bring up to you. He wants to take her as his bride. Really? Yes. He wishes to discover more about her. She's become sentient without his own influence. He wishes to know more. See her more. Understand her. It's also one of the reasons why he wants to invade Attilan. Not just to take your family. I see. Okay. Well then. Give me access, and then we'll talk. Rhino Vision going to do so. As Deku, Friday, and Jocasta, the three, they all do begin to chat. And T'Challa, he does make his way down to the barrier. Him walking up as Deku, he is putting the finishing touches on a kill switch instead of Vision's mind. And Ultron is left unaware as to a few things. Right now, his quote unquote robotic servant has turned against him. And that does mean quite a bit. And right now, T'Challa, he does get to ask the question if he believes that they can trust this thing because it's asking for help. We can. Hmm? What do you mean? He's going after Genosha. I see. That is bad. Genoshan defenses aren't as good as either of our cities. I know. Deku turning to T'Challa. And right now, Deku, he does get to stare at both T'Challa and War Machine? Deku blinking for a second. A lot more alarmed as Rhodey doesn't disappear. And the suit's gone. T'Challa trying to ask him if he's alright. Hmm? Yeah. Sorry. Just, a lot happening. No, Genosha's not very heavily defended from my knowledge. They've got powerful mutants. Along with it, there's also Magneto. He's a big threat for Ultra in the face. Though given the right alloy, no. He has that ability. He implemented the magnet manipulation ability into his suit. He can mess with metal and control its frequencies. Right. With the magnetism he put into this suit, he should be okay. Able to defend? Okay, but his tech may not be as great as his mutant power. He can do a bit, but he's not trying to attack. If he makes that clear, they'll speak to him. And Deku, he will go to express that he is going to go give a warning to Genosha. Talk to somebody and see what he can do. They've been isolated for some time, but they should be peaceful, right? I do not believe so. If you go into their airspace, you could cause problems. Maybe, but if I make it apparent that I'm not here as a threat, they'll listen. I need to go warn them before something just happened and before somebody could rip us all to shreds. T'Challa gonna radio in. On the barrier, it is let down. Deku, quickly, gonna blast off into the air. Envision does a turn. Him gonna follow, as Wakanda, it does have his defenses go back up. And Izuku, he has a lot going through his mind. Though, it definitely does concern him. He's pretty sure... Okay. He's okay. He's fine. He didn't trick of the eye, stress on the brain, adverse reaction. Maybe. Okay, Zuko. You haven't had a mental episode in 2 years. 3? No reason to start now. You're okay. Just take a breath and focus on Jasmine. Focus on what keeps you steady. And Deku, he does try to do so. As currently as I turn his head, and James Rhodes is flying there, in the War Machine armor. As Deku stares at that, hearing his voice, Kid, you've definitely been busy. Now, Deku, he does stare on, him a lot more alarmed, as currently Deku is to turn back and continue to fly. And there is over Genosha. Genoshan Air Defense is alerted to 2 objects currently entering into their airspace. And Izuku, he immediately decides to turn on the air brakes and stop. Him gonna float there, as there is where he does should at least hail Genosha. Now, the air defenses, they are quite alarmed, as right now, they do get a patch into this unknown person, and Deku does begin to alert them. His name is Iron Man. Him and his ally are currently here to talk to somebody in charge. Talk to Magneto about a situation currently happening globally. And it's highly likely to affect the mutants within the next 24 hours. Now, this is the person they do go to inform Deku. he is in Genoshan Air Defense space, and he is being told to leave. He is not authorized to be here. And Deku, he will going to tell them, to hell with their defenses right now. He is here to give them a warning of a killer robot that wants to brainwash their entire population. And the person, they do go to tell Deku to leave Genoshan Air Defense space. He is not authorized to be here. Any further approach will be seen as an act of war. They have 30 seconds to comply. And Deku, he's annoyed. Currently, him trying to at least radio in to anybody else down there. And he does even have the idea to use his powers, use his abilities. But that might be tougher. And Deku, he currently does this on float there. As air defenses are set out, at Magneto, he is told about the situation, since somebody just declared war on Genosha. Now, we do actually have Deku. Deku, he currently does have to kick it into second gear. The armor blasting up high into the air as missiles do begin to chase him down. And Deku, he does get a turn. Right now him bringing his hand down and blasting at the missile as is to take it out. Him going to do so, as there is where Deku, he does go to stop. Turn on his air brakes and going to turn. Him going to have his shoulder mounted missiles pop up and blast out. Right now his counters going to send out flares and heat seekers. Now, these things, they do begin to alert some of the missiles away, diverting some, as Deku, he has activated shields. And there is where the missiles due to blow up above Genosha. And many people, they do begin to see this, as some of them think it's fireworks, and others, they do see the massive amount of smoke above the city. My tongue's fine. Anyways, I bit my tongue for a second, I'm good. Deku, he currently does sit there, hand with his shield and trying to think. As right now, he doesn't try to hail anybody within the Genoshan air defense, and no one is responding, since they decided to cut communications and blast him. So, plan A did not work. What's plan B? Okay. He's gotta get this right. Deku, currently, gonna turn, as to bring his hand out and blast at a beam that is gonna cut through the air. Many missiles going to explode as he's afloat there. And there currently is Vision. Vision, he began to take out many of the missiles on his own, and he made sure to lead them away from Genosha, since it could definitely cause some problems. And there currently is Izuku. Izuku, he does fly high above the city, as right now, there currently is Magneto. Magnus got up. Somebody has declared war on his nation, and it has been peacefully existing for multiple years, and this is not good. The man annoyed, and currently he's going to fly up into the air, trying to find out who dares to threaten his people. And there currently is Izuku. Izuku, he does begin to fly down. Him with the idea that landing in the actual city would be the best idea, since nobody would fire on their own people, especially the mutants. And that, it does mean quite a lot. Professor Xavier and Magneto are two sides of the same coin. All life is precious to them. Except, well, that one is a little less conclusive. At least on Magnus's part. Only mutant life is precious to him, especially after the horrors he has seen. And that does make Deku a bit more concerned. He can understand wanting to protect his people, but protecting others? Yeah. It's also a concern of his. He remembers being human, and he has had similar experiences being alone, but not like Magneto. Deku, he doesn't understand anything about that. Now, Deku does a look around, and people, they do see Iron Man. Some people do recognize him, and some are concerned. The fact that he's here is either very, very good or very, very bad. However, he has yet to fire on anybody, and that does mean quite a bit. And Deku, he just stand there as somebody they do come to walk up. And they do go to express that he is not welcomed on Genosha. And they do to bring up their hand. Deku going to turn and see them. As one of their actions were his suit, it does begin to move out of Deku's control. Him having his arms move away as the field suit begin to compress into his chest. And Deku, he does try to tell Jocasta that right now he wants her to divert energy from the shield and activate the magnets. Her gonna do so. And Deku, the moment he does have his shield burst out, it does begin to create a field. Deku generating a magnetic field as he does actually fall to the ground for a second in a encased bubble. Now, there actually is Polaris, who does a step forwards and bring her hands up. Her trying to break through that shield Deku has generated, as she does find it quite alarming. Deku bringing his hands up as his repulsors do go to power down. And Deku, he does divert energy to the shield, trying to tell her that he's not here as a threat. And there actually is Magneto. Magneto does not fly down. Him going to see Deku, as Deku, he does hold up his hands. Or now him going to turn, as Magneto does a blast of his own energy at Deku, trying to rip through that magnetic shield and destroy it, since Iron Man is not welcome here. And Deku, he is trying to stay there. Him feeling his power being diverted. And he does try to tell Jocasta to increase output by 20%. Hold the shield at all costs. Otherwise, he is going to be crushed like a soda can. Now, this does pass through her systems. And there actually is Vision, who does come flying down. Him going to bring his hand up on the Magneto's shoulder as the man is at turn, seeing the robotic creation as Vision would go to express that they are not here as a threat. In fact, he is made of machinery and metal. Ultron is back, and if he does want to restore his population, he will listen to what they have to say. And Magneto, he does stare at the robot. Him looking back at Deku, as Deku, he does a yell out that Genosha is in danger. Now, Magneto does lower his hands, and he does a turn to his daughter, informing her to stop as she stared at her father. Her going to stop her attack and pull her hands back. As Deku, he just won't stand there. Him going to stand back onto his feet and disperse the field. Polaris going to bring her hands back up as Magneto does throw up his hand. Him telling her to stop. But, Father, they are not welcome here, yes. Now, speak quickly. You have a minute. It's all I need. Listen. Fuck. Okay, you might have just pulled my stitches. Genosha's in danger because Ultron's back. Ultron's an AI created by Hank Pym, who went rogue 3 years ago. He wants to kill all life on the planet. He came into possession of the Mind Stone, one of the Infinity Stones. He can control and dominate the will of people. He used it on Thor, and Thor is incapacitated right now. We don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. It's my belief that because of Attilan defenses being greater than Genoshan, he'll come here, enslave your population, kill everybody on the planet, demonize the mutants, and turn people against you. Start a massive war. I see. I'm going to turn to the robot, expressing with a bit of a side eye. And how does his population fit into this? Because, with your help, we can bring everyone back. Everything from 5 years ago can be undone. Listen, I can understand protecting your own, but this is about protecting everybody. This is a war that has no victors. There's already a lot at stake. If Thanos gets the rest of the gauntlet, he might succeed in his goal, the obliteration of all life in the universe. He got half of it. We were lucky he only got half. I lost a lot that day. Humans, Inhumans, mutants, we all lost something. The world came together to mourn. Magnus, I've heard a lot about you. Please, you have to understand. I know you're not a bad man. You just, you didn't get the right cards. The man's staring at Deku. And Deku, he doesn't open up his helmet. And he doesn't express. He has a daughter. He knows what it's like to care about family. He knows what it's like to lose. He lost both of his parents. He lost his mentor. He lost a friend. He's had to start over, build back up. And life just keeps kicking him always down. But he's gotten back up again. He's had to. He's had to put himself back together. He knows what that's like. He can understand to an extent. And Magneto, he does glare at Deku. And Deku would express again. Genosha will be put in danger sometime soon by Ultron. If they are not ready, Ultron will take over their population. And this, it does pose a lot to Magneto. Deku has no reason to lie. He came here to warn them. He came here to give them aid. And that is much appreciated. However, understanding him, the boy will never truly be able to do so. However, he can understand that. And Deku, he is at least told to leave Genosha, as they will handle things when they come. However, if they do need to, they will call on him for aid. They will call on the rest of the Earth's heroes for their help, if things do go bad. And Deku would tell him, Attilan can be an ally. Their species can help. Things aren't the way they were. They're not alone in this. They all share the planet. Believe it or not. Even though the Inhumans like to be alone. And Deku does a turn. Him telling Ultron, I keep wanting to call Vision Ultron. I'm going to tell Vision that they're leaving, since they are not supposed to be here. And Deku, here's a blast off. Vision going to turn and express to Magneto, not to underestimate Ultron, because he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if it means killing most of his population and taking only him. He is still a very powerful mutant, and that does mean quite a lot. Ultron, he has a lot planned right now. And as Iron Man and Vision do get to fly away from Genosha, the country getting smaller and smaller in the distance, there is Ultron. Plan B. He thought about going directly for the Inhumans, but their defenses are too great, so he'll have to break them down. But with the Mind Stone, he can get a lot of things done. Take possession of quite a good amount of people, and even creatures. Even ones from other worlds. And that does mean quite a lot. As Ultron, he does float there under the ocean, and staring at Fing Fang Foom, as he does bring up the Mind Stone. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.